Are we rolling? Okay. Just to cut you off here. We'll call this meeting of the Palmer City Council to order at 6 o'clock, May 13th, 2024. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Alcantara,
Here.
Councilmember Moline, Mayor Carrington,
Here.
Councilmember Tudor, Councilmember Best, Councilmember Cooper,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Anzalotti. Here. We have 4.
So we have a quorum.
Correct.
And did we hear from the others asking for excused absences, I presume?
Yes.
Okay. So with no objection, we'll give them excused absences. If everyone could stand and Kim Soling, could I ask you to lead the pledge for us?
Sure. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Next, we have approval of the agenda. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve the agenda and minutes of previous meetings.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded.
What was that? Moving.
Moved and what?
Move to approve the agenda and minutes of the previous meetings.
And approve the minutes.
The official.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, moved and seconded. Is there any objection to considering those unanimously approved? Okay. So those will be considered approved. Next we have communications and appearances, and I think first up we've got the Palmer Museum of History and Art, Mary Jo Parks. And I don't know if we got that. Do you know if we got the microphone on?
The microphone will need to be pushed on the bottom.
So you've got to hold that button on the bottom of the microphone, on the very bottom of the microphone for like 2-3 seconds, or get the police chief to do it, but you know.
Tracy Varell, a general member. We have 3 other board members who were not able to make it tonight. In your packet, you received an overview about the main things that we are doing with the Visitor Information Center and the museum. But we thought sometimes it is much better to get to see things in pictures. So we have for you tonight a short, I'm promising short, slideshow. Let me get my page here. Palmer is nestled in the glacier-carved valleys of the Knik and the Matanuska Valley. We are located between 2 mountain ranges and adjacent to major waterways. The town is among the most picturesque transportation corridor in the world. The first inhabitants, our main goal, by the way, is preserving the history of Palmer. So I'm going to have you take a little tour with me to the museum. So when you first walk into the museum, it's comfortable and warming. The first inhabitants were the Denali Athabascan Indians. They wandered extensively in the area, developing a high level of subsistence and trading with other Indians, including the Etna. The Russians came shortly thereafter, and they were primarily interested in working with the natives for fur trade. They settled, there is history that they settled and created a post in the early 1800s on the confluence of the Knik, Matanuska, and Knik rivers. In the late 1860s, there was small trading companies that came. The most notorious, of course, is George Palmer, one of the first white settlers in the area. He operated a trading post on the Matanuska River. In the late 1800s, the US government became interested in the Matanuska coal fields north of Palmer as a source of their engine fuel. Along with that came the construction of the railroad, which influenced the influx of homesteaders who settled between Matanuska Junction and Palmer. One of the ways we display this information is we have the initial exhibit, but then there's also drawers with lots of extra information. The railroad construction came and again had homesteaders who settled. In 1916, a site of construction was presented in Palmer. On January 6, 1917, the Palmer Post Office began to operate. As we've gone, the Palmer Museum of History and Art, again, is a nonprofit. We have been overseeing the museum's artifacts and protecting the collections. We are also very aware of things that the community and people around us would like to learn. So one of the displays that visitors have enjoyed is a topical map showing the mountains and locations of important places in the valley. We have the original indigenous names of those locations next to it. And again, it's fun listening to people try to announce or say the indigenous words. Much of the work at the museum, although we are paid by the city for overseeing it, we also have been committed to raising at least as much money, if not more, to create different exhibits. Our newest exhibit is of artist Fred Makatans, who is an amazing Alaskan painter and illustrator who specialized in the depiction of Alaskan scenes, people, and wildlife. And his wife, who is a writer, and this is our newest exhibit. The exhibit presents some of the most amazing artwork by Fred Makatan, and also in the drawers is important information of different things that they have done, as well as Sarah's speech that she gave many years ago at Matsu College. 2 years ago, we received a donation from the Palmer Lions and an anonymous source to create the Matanuska-made display. This has been an exhibit that creates much conversation. People have a hard time understanding how cows in a dairy field could exist in this climate. Again, it's fun to have people standing around the exhibit and listening to their conversations. One of the one of the exhibits that always makes me stop and pause is to think about how easy it is for us today to communicate with one another anywhere. We also have other exhibits that tell the story of our community. The Palmer Museum of History and Art has worked hard to give a glimpse of the Palmer's history in such a very small space. Visitors from around the world have been impressed and grateful for the museum being with the Visitor Information Center. We have a small space where we have a gift shop, where once again we have many items that are made here locally. One of the things